All right, guys, let's go through some ads that are working and let's talk about why they are working. So here we see an ad from NatureBox. Obviously, a very beautiful trial here. See, it's attracting my eyes so intensely that I'm about to say, obviously, a beautiful image, but I accidentally said trial. Obviously, a very beautiful image here. It really kind of displays the snacks. I'm sure that they've probably tested and have proven that, caramel corn, cashews, dried apples, whatever some of these are the ones that people are most interested in based off their data. Very well organized with a few kind of off to the side, just to kind of pattern interrupt a little bit. A few blueberries here. It just makes you want to snack. It makes me want to snack at least, right? And how they're offering it. Again, always getting people in the door using this model, guys. It just straight up works. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and try some crazy new advertising method because you think it's going to work. It might work, but use what has proven to work until you have enough money, more than enough money that you need, and then you can test whatever crazy idea you want, right? Deliciously wholesome snacks, right? So in 2 words, they've kind of portrayed that these snacks are not only very delicious, but they're also wholesome, right? Which kind of gives the portrays healthy, which people are interested in nowadays, which they always should have been, but they're more so nowadays. Delivered monthly, so people know kind of how often and how they're going to receive these. Try a free sample of 5 of our tastiest snacks. Just pay $7.95 for shipping, right? So it's literally a free plus shipping offer for snacks instead of a drop shipping item on Shopify, for example. So this ad's visual, relevant, valuable, right? Free trial is bold and immediately attracts attention. Very, very obvious what this is here. There's kind of an orange theme that just kind of portrays it, right? The lip here, we see the free trial. Obviously, the cashews are central, and most importantly, right? It's a delicious looking treat for the hungry snacker who would be potentially seeing these advertisements. You're going to snack, get smart about it. So it's kind of appealing to the fact that, humans love to snack. And if you're going to, you might as well get smart about it and, eat some deliciously wholesome snacks. Our snacks contain no artificial colors, sweeteners, or flavors. So it's a great ad. Here's another one from Tortuga Music Festival. Right, time is running out immediately off the bat, kind of, portraying the scarcity, because this is literally an event that happens on a date. So the scarcity is actually real, right? Kenny Chesney and Zach Brown Band, which are probably the headliners, or I'm sure they are the headliners of this particular concert. On the beach this April, #beachin'. Right, so it's kind of a play on words for another word, and anybody who's seeing this ad, I'm sure must like the Kenny Chesney page and must also like the Zach Brown page, right? And they probably are split testing, just showing it to Kenny Chesney fans, just showing it to Zach Brown fans, and then showing it to people who've liked both pages. So this is very visually appealing. It immediately gives people FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. A ton of people. It just looks like a lot of fun being on the beach, right? It looks warm. The ocean's beautiful. There's a million people out here. And so, I'm sure that they're really only showing this to people who are very likely to buy it. And as you can see, there's a ton of social proof. So this ad is done right. I'm sure that, again, they're probably targeting people that live in Florida in this particular city, right? People who have attended live music events in the past, and all of these things we've talked about, as are available for you to target people based on their interests, being Kenny Chesney and Zach Brown, demographics, where they live and things like that, and then behaviors, having actually attended live music events in the past. Not all wounds are visible, right? So this is a very simple ad. This looks like a right column ad. And this is very good. Not all wounds are, right, being all white. It matches the white here, kind of a very nice color blue, and then visible is kind of standing out. Right, it immediately kind of plays into emotion, and ads that appeal to people's emotion, they just perform very well. And people who are going to be seeing this ad obviously have showed some type of interest in counseling pages, or they're looking for help in some way, or they're looking at maybe motivational speakers for people who deal with anxiety or depression or things like that. And so they're literally advertising an e-counseling service, right? Get guidance, support, and advice from a professional counselor. It's time to make a change. Right, so this simple color scheme attracting attention to the final word, which prompts the brain to read the full short sentence, and a clear benefit to the advertised service to those in need. So this is a very simple ad, but one that's effective. Digital marketer. Again, we talked about digital marketer and Ryan Deiss a couple of times now. They're one of the companies that I follow most closely, just because they test so many things, and they just dump money into their tests, and then you can kind of see which ones are kind of that successful outcome, because I allow myself to get pixeled by digital marketer. I go to all their websites, I read all of their articles and things like that, and they're pixeling me, and then they're showing me all of these ads, and then the ads that they show me, most consistently for the longest period of time, I know are the ones that are working the best, because I know that they're extremely smart and they have some of the best Facebook advertisers in the world, which means that they're the best at optimizing as well, which means that they're only scaling the ads that are actually working, and they're going to pause the ones that are not. So this ad really plays off the fear that everyone kind of has. Everyone hates seeing this like little red empty battery bar, and I do too, right? 50% discount expiring in a few days. So it's really playing off the fear that everyone kind of has with a smartphone, especially if you have kind of an emotional attachment to technology. The red battery really kind of can initiate fearful emotions. It's your last chance. Again, very much so just scarcity in the very first words here to say 50% on Traffic and Conversion Summit tickets, price increase on Thursday at midnight, right? Again, here's the reiteration of the price increase, talking about thousands of the world's smartest marketers on San Diego, right? Very, very well designed ad. Sumo.me or sumome.com, excuse me. This is a very elegant graph. It kind of makes you curious, right? Because there's no labels on the X and Y axis. And again, there's like no direct kind of headline here. If you want viral growth, you need this tool. And so everyone who is in marketing or, trying to make a name for themselves or kind of get their voice heard and things like that, they do want viral growth. Viral growth is very much so a buzzword. Everyone wants to go viral because it kind of means, going viral. So it's a simple, elegant graph showing obviously huge growth, very, very simple text that kind of makes you curious about, what SumoMe even is. What does this represent? What could this tool possibly be? And then, they give kind of a humble brag social proof here. Over 175,000 websites grow their traffic with sumo.me. Seriously, our chart is already out of date. And with no long form text to kind of find out and fulfill our human curiosity, you click the ad, you just pretty much want to see, what's actually going on. And again, they're not talking about the features of saying, the fastest interface for a viral, growth tool. They're literally making you say, they're making you, curious, and they're making you feel, if you want viral growth, you need this tool. And then they're saying, everyone else is using it. Why aren't you using it too? And so it's just kind of a very good, very elegant, simple ad that kind of just really piques your human curiosity, which is, again, one of, if not the strongest kind of influencer when it comes to advertising. Here's one from sumo.com. So Tony Robbins' multi-million-dollar marketing strategy revealed. Tony Robbins is obviously, a huge name. He's literally been like actively touring for 40 years. So, if you don't know who Tony Robbins is, you're probably not in like anywhere near the marketing space or self-development space or anything like that. And so, using Tony Robbins kind of as name credibility, and then also saying, that they're revealing his multi-million-dollar marketing strategy, it just kind of piques your curiosity. And these people are probably also targeting people who have shown an interest in Tony Robbins' page, and then people who've shown an interest in other marketing pages, right, must also match Tony Robbins. Lots of different ways that this ad really works. And another thing that I really like about this ad is it's kind of playing off people, if you see something wrong with a picture, for example, it kind of catches your eye. Like if a woman has like 3 legs, or for example, and like you're flipping through a magazine and you like see it and you don't really notice it, but it kind of sticks in your mind. This is a marketing tactic that advertisers have used for a long time to kind of just make you subconscious, like through subconscious cues, subliminal messaging almost. You'll remember things just because something was off, even if you didn't recognize what that something was. And so the fact that he doesn't have eyes, right, and there's kind of a click here, it's just a simple visual cue that you're supposed to click right here. And so people kind of just subconsciously remember this, think something's off, click it, right? See Tony Robbins, think about, the multi-million-dollar strategy revealed. You can copy this exact strategy to grow your own website traffic. How Tony Robbins generates 1 million website visitors per month, right? So this is a great, great ad that just utilizes a lot of simple tactics, kind of with, the background being these yellow gears, very eye-catching with the contrast of the purple. And again, no eyes, and then the visual cue to kind of click here. So let's talk about Mind Titan. Using carousel ads, like we talked about previously in this module, kind of to tell a story, is a really fantastic way to kind of create almost an interactive experience for your end user, or for the people who are going to be viewing your ads, without having to go create a studio quality video, for example. Find out if your business can benefit from AI and machine learning. Get your first consultation for free. So what are they doing here, right? I think you're probably starting to get, how everyone is kind of using, or not everyone, but everyone who's successful is using these same type of strategies. Getting people interested, getting people to take that first click is the hardest part. And the best way to do that, guys, is to offer something completely for free, offering value for free, offering free snacks. All you pay is shipping, right? These are the ways that you actually get people into your ecosystem, which is the most difficult part. Once you have them in your ecosystem and you're really adding value, the rest of it is very smooth sailing. So using carousel ads to tell a story, curiosity, right, and micro actions have huge impacts on click-through rates. People want to see what the story is. They want to see it finished, right? AI can help you beat what can it help me do? Beat the competition, right? And I might click this just to see, right? AI plus your business equals ... They're literally playing off human curiosity. And it's a very, beautifully done advertisement that, people might want their first consultation completely for free. So the next one, this is Slack, one of the fastest growing kind of startup companies in the world right now. It's kind of a messaging platform to make it easier for corporations and things like that to communicate. Again, eye-catching, right? The rainbow horse. This is the ridiculous ad. A beautiful woman. She's smiling, kind of a look of surprise on her face, and what it feels like to sit in 25% fewer meetings, right? Like you're on cloud 9. You're literally riding a freaking pink unicorn in I guess a pony, and you got the rainbow in the background. And this is a pain point, right? They're not saying this just because they want to say it. They know that people hate sitting through unnecessary meetings. They know that it's one of the biggest pain points when it comes to the workplace. Slack obviously caters to the workplace, and so they're literally, like we've talked about over and over and over again, they're not talking about their product features, saying you can send 10,000 messages for free, you can have up to 1,000 users. People don't care about that. People care about the feeling that they will get when they can sit through 25% fewer meetings. If anything can give them 25% fewer meetings, then they are going to be interested, right? Slack, make work better. And that's a very simple catchphrase, and it's very memorable, and everyone wants to make work better. Slack brings all of your communication together in one place. Beautifully, beautifully designed ads. Right? And so that is some examples of very successful, very well-designed ads, and kind of a very introductory annotation as to why they're successful, in my opinion, as to what type of elements that they're all kind of using, the patterns, the similarities, and using all of these as inspiration to create your own ads is going to absolutely put you so far ahead of the competition. It's going to be ridiculous, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and let's get to the next.